Hi, I'm Stephanie Sipp, and I'm a naturalist, illustrator, and educator. And in this video, I want to show you how to draw a single pansy with a stem and a leaf. We're going to add the name, and then we're going to add some colored pencils. So this is our goal to get to here, and I'm using my sketchbook, 5.5 by 8.5 sketchbook, and I have set up my page with a 2 by 2 inch square. This is my center. These are 1/4 inch guidelines that we're going to use for the lettering. So where I'm going to start with the pansy is, and I actually have quite a large one I can put close by. Let's see if that's something you can see. It's missing a little piece there, but we're going to work around that. I'm going to start with pencil guidelines. I'm making a big X to find the middle. Then I'm going to use the vertical and horizontal line through there. And when I think about this pansy, it looks like the center horizontally. I've got that half circle here, and then I can put the center of the flower right down that middle. So I'm going to start right away with this curve, kind of a smile on a smiley face. And then there are 2 parts here that I'm going to add. It does look like a little face. And so that is going to represent the center of the pansy. The leaf that petal I'm going to put in first is this larger one. And it's going to start from here. It curves in a little bit. It curves out. It circles. There's a here, and then I'm going to actually make this come up a little bit. Here's the same on this side. Not quite as successful, but we're going to leave it like that. When I look closely, this petal goes behind the one. This is actually the one. The reason I did this first is that this is on top. So I work from on top. Then I'm going to start this one here. It comes up and around like a circle. I might add a little of that texture right there. This one I'm also going to bring up and around this way. You can use guide points if you'd like. So for example, I could take my pencil and think about how this one, the top here, goes underneath both of these. So, and as a matter of fact, I'm glad I did that because I want this to land here, and then it's going to come around in a circle. So there's a guide right there. You can always do this in pencil first. And then I'm going to pop this one. I'm not going to do any guides, but I'm going to accept to give myself a start here and a stop here. And I'm just going to see how that comes around. So there's the shape that I've got as the line drawing. The stem, I'm going to put my hand here, but I'm not putting my pen down because I want to be sure that this comes from the center. Great. And then I was going to take the leaf, and these leaves have a rigid edge. I'm just going to see if I can find where it went, but I can't. And I want to be sure that I start this at the very bottom because with pansies, their leaves and stems all come from the bottom. And I'm going to draw the center vein first, and then I'm going to come from the top, and the leaves are lobed a little bit. One side, here's the other side. They have a fairly narrow shape. Good. Okay, so now I'm ready to add my pencil, colored pencils. I will do a little erasing here first. It's best to do that because it'll show where your colored pencil was. So you want to be sure to have this cleaned off. Good, okay. So I'm going to start with the petal and one of the smaller ones. And what I'm noticing in the petal is that, and what I'm going to choose is this darker area, I'm going to choose a dark purple and a dark blue. I see quite a bit of blue in there. I am going to make a band across here with my pencil to remind me to keep this open, because I'm going to start from here, then I'm going to bounce out to the back here, and this I'm actually going to work with a light blue and a very like a Copenhagen blue or cerulean blue. So I've got my purples together. I'm going to start from the center. I'm just going to put a little dot in here. I want to be sure to get that band in there. And boy, once I get going sometimes. So here's my darkest blue, and I'm going to do my strokes so that they start close to the bottom of this petal and go out toward the outside. That's the medium. I was going to see about, oh, I put these together. Let me see if I can. Here's another more purpley. So I started with the blue, going to a more purpley. Again, I'm getting these strokes. Some of them go, and then here's, and this is actually violet itself here. So on top of that, and now I'm starting to lose some of that white paper. So you can see that I was working quite lightly. Now I'm going to get a little heavier. I'm going to go back to my blue, my dark blue. I want this close, this edge here to be as dark as it can be. Great. Okay, the two colors that I'm working with here are the a light violet, Parma violet, and then this is a cerulean, a light cerulean. I'm going to first put my cerulean down, and I'm going to leave some white in between because we are just creating a flavor here. This being the base. And then this being the kind of the main color. Notice that I'm working to cover the edge. Oh, went outside the edge. So I could also use a little bit more blue in here. Okay, great. And I'm going to look back at this. I didn't quite get that curve very well, but I'm going to definitely bring some of this purple into that creamy area. And first, before I do that, I do have a cream that I'm going to use back and forth just as a base. Give it a little flavor there. And then here comes these strong veins. Great. Okay, so that's going to be typically what you're going to do around certainly 1, 2, and 3. What I would do here is this combination that I used, which is that Copenhagen or cerulean blue and the violet. I would work light on the outside and get darker on the inside, closer to the edge here. And I might even pop in a little bit of blue in there. There does seem to be some, notice my pencil's always going in the direction of the petal. Here's a little bit more up here. You can always get heavier and darker. Might want to leave some light. That's actually looking quite nice. Yay! Okay, good. So you'll follow along there, same with these two here, and then you'll have this darker area in here. Okay, let's go to our greens. Oh, let's do the center, sorry. What's happening in the center is going to be a yellow here, an orange yellow on the edge here, and there is yellow green in this area here with cream on either side. So let's do that. I'm going to start with lemon yellow in the smiley face. On top of that, I'm going to put the orange on this edge. Now remember, when we look at our color wheel, we're going to be, these two are close together, so they work nicely together and they add a little flavor. Here's this yellow green in here. It looks like a triangle face. Gosh, that looks like it's funny. And then I'm going to put a little cream right here. Great. Good. Okay, and then as I work with the leaf, I like to start with the yellow, green. I'm going to put some of these veins in here. And then I go work out to using a darker. So this is spring green, which I have close to the center, pushing it out. Notice I'm working at a curve here, which is the same line as the veins, how they go from the center up. I look for the shapes and the directions already there. Here comes the darker green. I might start like I did with the flower petals, come from the outside edge in. And then I want to show you something that's a little bit different, but it can be fun. It's optional. I'm actually going to take a light aqua and I'm going to line the leaf with some light aqua pencil color. It's just a line. And then I'm going to push it, go back to my darker green, and I'm going to go on top and just push this toward the center. And a lot of that turquoise falls back. You don't see it as much, and yet it's there, and it really adds a little flavor. Good. With my stem, I always work with the lighter color on the right. This is the sun shining on the stem, and then the darker green on the left. So I get a little bit of that curved flavor. The next thing that I'm going to do is to put in the name Pansy. And what I like to do here, you can see this is actually a 1/4 inch guidelines. I'm going to use capital letters, and I'm going to start with my pencil and go backwards to see if I can center this. And so I definitely start with a guide. I'm using a lettering that is pretty close, that is just very plain. You might have some good lettering skills and you want to do a little bit extra. Now I come back with my black marker. I can correct this a little bit. I generally, if I outline my flower in a black fine line, I will stay with a black fine line for the name. I don't want this to really be get too much attention. I'm just labeling it. And then I've also got some 1/4 inch guidelines because I will put in there my pencil colors. So this is, you can see, this is how we ended up. And I like to note my color pencils sometimes. I'll also do that close to the bottom of the page because I might just want to take a snapshot of the actual drawing. But this can often be a good reference. You can also, I will show you my own study that I did prior to this. I want you to know that I work with other scrap paper, with trying out colors before I do a lesson or do a final illustration. And I encourage you to find a way too that you get comfortable doing your work. Thank you very much.